it's always not just about the technology. It's like having the support of, all the leadership in the company and being able to learn from them of how to build and scale the business. That was, I think, a unique opportunity for me.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley, in partnership with Lomitech, and sponsored by Homeward Ventures, Hippo Insurance, Upwest, Hillel at Stanford, Leap, and Birthright Excel. Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Today we're going to be talking about engineering with Avi Golan, Vice President of Engineering and General Manager of Israel at ZipRecruiter. Avi Golan is ZipRecruiter Israel General Manager and Vice President of Engineering, leading the Israeli engineering site with a data-driven focus on delighting both job seekers and employers and fundamentally improving the hiring experience. Prior to joining ZipRecruiter, Avi is a Mamram alumnus and served in an intelligence unit. Avi has over 2 decades of experience in the software industry, building and leading R&D organizations. Let's get started. Avi, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Good. Thank you for inviting me to the show. Really excited to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Vice President of Engineering and General Manager of ZipRecruiter in Israel. 5 or 6 years ago, you founded the R&D site here in Israel for this multinational company, ZipRecruiter, working with people all over the world to connect them with relevant jobs. And so there's obviously very, very relevant to today's marketplace, very relevant to the different questions that are being asked today. And we'll focus also on ZipRecruiter. And I'd love for you to start by telling me a little bit about what you do there. But afterwards, I'd love to really dig deep into what it means to create this R&D site here in Tel Aviv and act as Vice President of Engineering for this multinational company. So what is ZipRecruiter in a few words?
So ZipRecruiter is an online employment marketplace. We basically connect between the two sides, the job seekers and the employment or the employers of the jobs. And we're actively working in order to make those connections cross industries, cross verticals. We're helping nurses and truck drivers and engineers and data scientists and marketers and basically every occupation and every industry. We're able to find the right opportunity as a job seeker and find the right talent as an employer. We're supporting both SMBs, like it can be small pizza shop that is looking for delivery drivers or cashiers, and it could be large enterprises that are looking for 10,000 warehouse workers. And we do that with a lot of AI and smart matching technology that we built based on the large data. Over the last 10 or 11 years since the company was founded, we had more than 800 million job applications to our platform.
Holy crap.
Many people that pressed apply and submitted their resume,
wow.
Which is, huge impact on the industry, mainly operating in the US market, but also in Europe.
Unbelievable. And so 5 or 6 years ago, you set out to create the R&D site here in Israel, joined as VP Engineering of ZipRecruiter. Walk me through the rationale of taking this multinational company and deciding to open a new R&D site here in Tel Aviv. And then what was that like from your perspective coming in as the general manager?
Yeah. So I think the story of ZipRecruiter is slightly unique versus the other multinational that you see here that open engineering sites. So the company was founded in 2010. It was bootstrapped till 2014, and then it raised Series A. And in order to grow, that was the founders decided that they want to take the company to the next level, and as part of that, they acknowledge that they need stronger and bigger engineering organization, and they made the decision to open an engineering site in Israel, in Tel Aviv.
Mm-hmm.
And before Jeff Swelling, so he founded a company before that that was the name of the company was Convergro. It was sold to AOL, and it had an engineering site here in Tel Aviv, and it worked for him. And he joined ZipRecruiter after that as the COO, and decided to replicate that. And decided he needs someone to be employee number one, to start the office and like to start being hands-on and like solving issues, but also like scaling and hiring and recruiting and growing and solving problems. So we connected over it was Skype back then, but it was like, wow, it was I never met anyone in person. Like now it seems right, interviews trivial. You do over Zoom, or it's like that's how you do interviews, right? It's right. But it was back then. Right. It's like 2015. It was like met with the founders, met with Jeff, met with a couple of technical people, and then decided to make this leap of faith, I guess, of like there's this amazing company that is looking for to do this major growth and scaling, and it was an amazing opportunity as like a career growth, as well as like solving problems.
Now, walk me through a little bit about your cognitively what's going on in your mind. You're tasked with starting this new R&D team. What is top of mind for you? Is it scaling the team? Is it getting more responsibility with a product? Is it getting trust from your counterparts around the world that are now looking to see what you come up with? What really bothers you during that time, or what occupies you?
Yeah, probably everything that you mentioned. It was like no one told me like this is what we want you to do, or those are the problems that we want you or the team to solve. It's like it was we have amazing company that we built, a lot of customers that are using the product, both on the consumer side, the job seekers, and the employer side, like the both B2B and B2C. And we have a lot of data. We have a lot of like challenges and opportunities, and like try to figure out where you can provide value. Basically, that was like that was the mission statement, and that was like I was obsessed about like finding where I can provide value, and like bringing my previous experience in ad tech and other like big data technologies that I had over the 20 something years that I'm in the software industry. So really just talking to people, trying to understand like where are like the challenges, where are the opportunities, understanding the ecosystem, the market itself, and like what kind of technology is out there. And I think that's like the major challenge. And it's I remember the first days where it's like you're alone. I took like a like a shared space in Mindspace in Rothschild. So just not to be alone, right? It's just to see people. So I had this small office back then, and like talking to people in my early morning and then in the evenings, and digging up in the data, looking, going into the data warehouse, looking in the vast amount of data that we collected, and then trying to zoom in on the areas where we could like eventually it was like after a few months, like we grow, and I hired some of my past colleagues and friends, and they brought their friends, and now we're about 80 people. But back then it was like 2, 3. Wow. The end of the year it was 6.
Unbelievable.
And we started by solving like one of the hardest problems of matching. It's like, how can you provide a better experience for both the job seeker and the employer by harnessing AI, like using the data that we collected over the years, and building models that can learn like what's a good match, like how how do you qualify, how a recruiter sees like, the resume of a nurse versus the resume of a software engineer, and like what's important for each recruiter, or what's important for the job seeker, and then like, teaching model or building models that can understand that based on the data and based on like the talented engineers and data scientists that we have in the company.
So if you're fast forwarding to today now with over 80 people on your team in the site here in Israel, and you're obviously making a big impact on the multinational company that has many more people than that in it.
Yeah.
What do you think worked along the journey? What were some things that you either prioritized or by chance happened that made this a smooth transition and pretty fast growth? 80 people over the span of 5-6 years.
Yeah. So I think, we proved ourselves. We created value. We found the areas where we
internally,
created value for the company,
right,
or created value for our customers.
Yeah.
And I think we proved that we can, take the challenges or even come up with innovation and the things that can help the company scale and can help the company we can talk about that later, but we IPO'd 3 months ago. So it's like taking the company really to the next level. And I think this is for me, I'm very much focused on creating, finding the areas where we can create the value and focusing on that. And then scaling. And then once we found product market fit internally and externally, once we verified that this is a problem worth solving, then we're we're all in. We're we'll grow the team. We'll get alignment from the entire organization and so on. So I think that's that was the major factor that I think helped us. Building the relationship. One of the challenges was this. We have one platform, one company, right? It's sure. It's not a big company that opens an R&D site that develops a small feature, sure. Or small or small or big, it doesn't matter, but a product that can be encapsulated and have clear interfaces. It was more of how can we build an organization that can have engineers or can have data scientists or people and product managers, people from both sides of the world, working closely together. And we have managers here that manage people, in LA and vice versa.
Right.
So that was one of the biggest challenges, how to bring this, to build this culture and to build this organization over the years.
Really what we're things we're talking about, building culture, scaling a team, creating value internally and externally. I mean, it really sounds like we're talking about, you created almost, as an entrepreneur, creating a company, creating a startup within a startup, having many of those same challenges that a traditional founder has. You're doing it within this multinational, but it's entrepreneurship, by any standard, right?
Yeah, exactly. Without without the need to be obsessed of how to get how to pay salaries next month, right? How to get the next funding. So I was fortunate to have this opportunity of really doing that. That's founding a new company, and being able to recruit top talents and bring on very talented people that can help me do that, scaling and do that growth and creating value.
Right.
So it's a lot easier when you have you have the support of amazing leaders in the organization, right? It's people that it's usually not just about the technology, or it's always not just about the technology. It's having the support of all the leadership in the company and being able to learn from them of how to build and scale the business, that was, I think, a unique opportunity for me.
100%. Now, talk to me a little bit about what you learned. Over these 5-6 years, you've sort of become an expert, an AI expert in matching technologies and what works and what doesn't work with, looking for jobs, matching for jobs, either as a seeker or as an employer. What are some baseline ideas that perhaps may not even be that trivial for the common person that's applying for a job or writing their resume? What are some things that you've learned through your experiences that we can share with anybody that's listening?
Yeah. So one of before I answer your question, one of the learnings that I had early on was as a company and organization, it's not just about the technology. It's a lot, it's you can build this amazing AI and amazing technology, but it's the business, it's the organization, it's the product, It's the marketing. It's like a combination of all of those that are working together in order to get the company to the next level.
Yeah.
And then on the matching side, so if you're someone that is now on the market or planning to go to start finding jobs and applying to jobs, you need to understand that the landscape has changed in terms of the flow of who reads your resume or how to get past to the next level. It's it used to be a pile of you always see this picture of a pile of 1,000 resumes sitting on someone's desk. It's now it's automated, right? Obviously,
right. Different.
And a lot of I think a lot of people just don't understand that in order to get to the recruiter, you need to pass some bot, some AI that scans your resume and try to extract the data, and it's trying to extract the data from it, right? It's trying to understand your previous experience, your education, and so on. And if it
so what
fails,
does that mean in terms of what does that mean in terms of the focus? Because if the focus before needed to be on standing out. I remember applying to college, you have to stand out so that your college application is different, not necessarily even better, but just different than that of the thousands of others that they have on their desk. Now I'm assuming that you actually have to be a little bit more intentional and specific to the role perhaps that you're applying to.
Yeah. So keep in mind that those AI that scans your resume, it first needs to understand, right? So it can be don't use tables and fancy formatting and stuff like that will in some cases the machine will fail to read the resumes and it will just reduce your chances in getting to the next level. So try to focus on or try to write the most simple format that you can. You can still describe your achievements and so on, but don't use fancy words or abbreviations that no one knows or something that describes. Try to put some fancy words around stuff that you do. It's again, the machine is trying to extract the skills that and if it doesn't understand, or if you're writing in a unique way that it didn't see before, that's it will be more difficult to get past this, to get past this stage. And there's this myth, I don't know if our common knowledge around recruiter spends 6 seconds reading your resume, 6 or 7 seconds passing through your resume.
Yeah.
In many cases, you don't even get that. It's there's a snippet, right? That they see. It's they depends on the role, but you have roles where hundreds of people apply, and you have a summary of your past experience, education, skill set, and so on. And it's again, if it fails to understand that, then you're basically shooting yourself in the leg. So
what I'm hearing what I'm extracting from this and take away from me is, if before, the traditional advice would be to stand out, be different, make something that will force the decision maker to take a closer look and be intrigued by what you do. Here, we're actually going for simplicity, stick to the rules, make the more common you are in the format, the better you're served, because the better chances that you will be understood by the algorithm. But then, the more specific you are also and intentional, then the more likely you'll be matched with a position that really fits you. And I think that's definitely something that I'm taking away, and that I think that anybody that's listening, it's relevant for everybody. Now, I do want to take you back, Avi, really quickly in the last few minutes that we have, a little bit about you. Share with me both, what really fascinated you as a kid, but also what inspires you today.
Okay. So yeah, growing up, I was like, ever since I remember myself, I was like, I wanted to be a doctor. It's like I grew up to a mother that was a nurse, like 50 years as a nurse or something like that, like 40 something years, and like we lived right next to the hospital, and like I remember myself like after school, at like first or second grade, going to eat lunch with her at the hospital, and like I was fascinated about this this occupation, and up till the age of 17, I was sure that this is what I'm going to do. Studied biology in high school, but then life takes some turns, and I was like in the army. Was recruited to Mamram and did like the programming training, and fell in love with this domain and the software industry, and my life changed since then. So I'm grateful for that opportunity as well.
And the rest is history.
And I think and to your second question about what's fascinating, what inspiring me today, it's like it's going back to creating value. It's like, how can we harness technology and to solve, market deficiencies, problems, things that looking back 5 or 10 years ago were not solvable with, or were much harder to solve than today with the technology that we have using AI and big data. So I'm fascinated about that. It's like seeing the technology, how it progress and help solving, we're basically using the technology to solve like the most basic human needs of like finding a job, helping people that really need support, really need guidance, really need our help to understand where their next opportunity might be. And like there's a stat that we're using or that we have, that we have like two boxes in the homepage. It's like, what are you looking for and where? It's like 13% don't even know what to look for. It's like they put jobs, or I need a job, or blank. And it's like, it's interesting. It's our role, it's our mission to help guide them and help them understand using technology, using like the fact that we've seen millions of people with the same education, with the same skill set, with the same career trajectory. We are able to provide that kind of guidance and that kind of help and support. So that's fascinating.
I love it. And what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself?
I think a lot of the things that I described is technology. So technology is one, and innovation / value using innovation. And I think also family. I'm trying to balance between like work and life. So
very, very cool. I love it. Avi, I really want to thank you. This was fantastic. I loved the insights, the stories, both on the recruiting and the hiring and understanding the transition that we've made from manual to automated, and what we need to derive from that for both the seekers and also the employers. But then opening a new site for a multinational company, VP R&D, and then distilling it to creating value in just as big of an entrepreneurial journey. So thank you very much for the time and inspiration, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Really enjoyed that.
Yofi.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.